Well, hey, howdy, hey, campers. How's it going? I'm illfittingtrousers, and today I wanted to talk about my top 5 favorite video games of 2021. It's the last day of the year, so I thought, hey, I might as well. So let's start with number 5, because that's where you start. And I'm going to be talking about Metroid Dread. Metroid Dread, I honestly feel like the only reason I put it at number 5 and not higher is I'm not done with it. I absolutely love Metroid Dread so far. It's been really good. I'm probably about like 3/4 of the way through. It's very fun. Let's just put it that way. It has been an absolute blast to play that game. I have no prior experience with the Metroid series at all, so I think I picked a good spot to start. It's very unique, considering that, like, for today's, like, world of gameplay, I guess, it's very unique. There's not a lot of 2D, like, platformers like this anymore. You have, like, Mario, but, you know, like, Mario's Mario. Whereas, like, Metroid feels a little more unique, being what I think, like, the first the first Metroid, like, 2D platformer since, like, 18 years or something like that. It's been a while. So I think it's very unique. I always like the sci-fi type of games. There's actually quite a few on this list anyway. And it just, you know, progressing in that game, it's a little tricky. There's some puzzles. It very much gives you free range on where to go as long as you have the equipment to go into certain areas. So, like, figuring out if you need to go back or forth is a little tricky. But other than that, it's a lot of fun. Number 4 is Voice of Cards: The Isle Dragon Roars. This game is so cool. It's portrayed like you're in a D&D campaign almost. You know, you have your dungeon master or your game master or whatever you want to call him. And he's basically telling you this adventure through cards. Everything is explained through cards. The map is, like, each individual piece of the map is a different card. And you have your token who moves there. Your characters are on cards, obviously. You know, weapons, you buy different cards to switch out with, like, your character's cards. But the story is very good, well told. Like, you feel like you're experiencing, like, this whole story. And it's interesting because it's called The Voice of Cards, like, the Isle Dragon Roars. So I really hope to see, like, more games from this series, Voice of Cards. It's from Square Enix, who I absolutely adore everything they do anyway. But it just, again, like I was saying, Metroid Dread feels unique, but this, I've never experienced anything like this. Like, it could have been a good system back then too, or, like, even today, but I've never seen a game that's portrayed like this. And it kind of makes me think, if, like, I guess if I was gonna have to compare it to something, I would imagine, I haven't played it, obviously, it's not out yet anyway, but I would imagine it would be like Tiny Tina's Wonderland, where you're playing like D&D, but instead of it, like, being you're the character that you are in D&D, you're playing as, like, the player who controls the party. Like, you see the cards, you don't see a map, you see, you know, you don't see what the characters are seeing, you see, like, the game around you. And it's weird because, you know, like, I guess, like, D&D, you know, that is immersive, even though it's just pen and paper. So it's very cool how this narrator, I feel like, can bring me into a game and like make me feel like I'm there, but also make me feel like I'm playing being there, you know? It's weird, but it's so cool, and I love it. You guys should check out Voice of Cards, The Isle Dragon Roars. It's like $20 at launch, so I can imagine it might be cheaper. Number 3, we got Guardians of the Galaxy. Man, okay, Guardians of the Galaxy was a wild ride. Honestly, like, the jokes hit really well. The characters were well done. Like, I think again, a lot of people hated on this game because Avengers. It's kind of by the same studios, or one of the same studios, I think. And, Avengers seemed to get a lot of criticism because the characters didn't look like the Marvel, like, movies. Which, you know, like, these characters have been around long before these actors have been around, let alone, you know. So I think it was unique, or it's a good idea to make them separate, you know. Make them look more like the comic book characters or whatever than the movie characters. But I know the game, Guardians, was getting critiqued really harshly right out the start, from, you know, based off Marvel's Avengers, based off the fact you can only play as Peter Quill, Star-Lord, rather than all the Guardians. I even, like, saw people hating on the fact that they were using original music as well as licensed music. Which is very funny, like, now that I've played the game and now that I've experienced it, because the original music was so good. The original music was absolutely fantastic, and it's great because, like, when you think about it, one of the appeals of James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy is the licensed music that he uses. You know, it's all classic rock stuff, or, you know, 80s era music or whatever. And it's like, it's really good, you know, classic hits all the time. Why this game also had that, it had this band called Star-Lord, which is what he based his superhero name off of. And I think, like, the fact that they were able to do an original band made the music fit so much better than any other, like, licensed music could have fit in certain situations. Not to mention, like, I literally listened to, like, the entire Star-Lord album on Spotify. Like, I drive for, like, my career and stuff, so, I listen to a lot of music anyway, but I actually, like, did a whole drive where I was just listening to the band Star-Lord. And gosh, yeah, you gotta check out the music. It's great. As for, like, the criticism for not being able to play as the other Guardians of the Galaxy, that's also bullshit. Like, you can't play as the other Guardians, but it's so awesome. Like, again, this is where Marvel's Avengers failed. I'm going to compare it a lot because they kind of, you know, Guardians did everything right that Marvel did wrong. Or Avengers did wrong. And that's really all there is to it. You know, like, where you only play as Star-Lord, it's very well done. Like, I'd rather play as only Star-Lord, but as well done as Guardians of the Galaxy did it, rather than play as, like, half-assed characters of, like, half-assed versions of all the other Guardians. So you get, like, skill points while you're playing, right? And you can get, you level up all the Guardians. You can level up all of them. And they have skills that you command as the leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy. So it really does, though. Like, these skills you can, like, tell them to use really does put you in the leader's seat. And I think that's really what this game needed. Instead of it, if it made you play as all the characters, it wouldn't be as immersive as just playing as Star-Lord, because it really made you feel like Star-Lord. But if I was like picking Rocket Raccoon for missions, or like Groot for missions, or Gamora, or Drax, or whoever, I don't think it would have hit the same. I really don't. Guardians of the Galaxy, easily top 3 games of last year. I had an absolute fun time with that game. There's only one game that made me smile as much, and that's on my list, so I'll get to that soon, but yeah, play Guardians of the Galaxy. Absolute fun time. Alright, number 2. A lot of people may say this game shouldn't be on this list, and a lot of people are wrong. Because it's a remake, and I get where they're coming from. Remakes probably shouldn't be considered for top games of 2021. However, the fact that this is my list, normally I also wouldn't put remakes in here, but I've never played the series before, so it didn't feel like a remake to me. It felt brand new. And it was the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Mass Effect Legend, that's another reason might not be, should be in here. It's 3 games. But, I mean, all 3 games are like one big story. Like, they connect so well that it's almost like, other than maybe Mass Effect 1, you can't really just play one of them without them, like, without all of them. But gosh, Mass Effect was so cool. I've never played a game. I love like games like this too. I play like all the Telltale games, all the Life is Strange games, the ones where you know, like you make choices for the characters. I've never experienced a game where my choices were so impactful. They were like every single choice I made felt like it drastically changed where the game was going. You have like your renegade points, or like your good versus evil mortality rating. Just the characters that live and characters who die based on your choices is very unique. I messed up in Mass Effect 2. I'm not really gonna go into what I did. But I didn't have a crew anymore after a certain point. And I didn't know it was based on a certain thing because I've never experienced any game doing that to me. So if you play Mass Effect, you know, like there's a lot of things that, you know, grinding's cool, but that's gonna be my speech. Grinding's really cool to make sure you're strong enough, but do it in a timely manner. Yeah. And then the characters were so well, like, developed in, like, the relationships you have with these characters. It's like one of the reasons I like the Persona series is I think their characters are, like, one of the best well-written cast that you get to, like, go into their personal lives and kind of, like, learn about these characters, actually. I think, you know, I always thought the Persona series does that an amazing job. Well, so does the Mass Effect series. I bought Andromeda to play. I know it's not as good. I hear it all the time. But I am gonna play Andromeda soon. And then I'm ready for Mass Effect 4. I'm so excited. Alright, number 1, best game of the year. Like, it's my game of the year. I've talked about it already in another video. But it's Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. This game is just smiles for days. I don't think I stopped smiling playing that game at all. I had, like, just the biggest smile on my face. Even when I think about the game, I get all giddy and laughy and whatever. But Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart did such a good job at not only just being a good game and a good story with good graphics, but it, like, this was, like, probably the game where, when I think of, like, PS5, other than, like, Astro's Playroom, that used its hardware very effectively. So, like, it's no secret the DualSense controller has, like, adaptive triggers and haptic feedback. And, you know, like, the SSD makes things, you know, you can access, there's, like, almost no load times, basically. It can access those files super fast. So with, like, the dimensional rifts, you can, like, teleport from one section of a map to another in no time. You can almost, like, I'm pretty sure, like, there was no load times in between going to different planets. My favorite thing, however, was there was a shotgun in the game, and it used, like, well, each gun had, like, different feels anyway, but the shotgun had, like, these triggers for the adaptive triggers, and it made it feel like two separate buttons. So, like, half a click with R2, or R2, would shoot, like, only one barrel of the shotgun, but if you press it all the way down, it shot both barrels of the shotgun. And, like, explaining that, like, if you've never really used adaptive triggers, that sounds, like, kind of hard to only shoot one. But there's a clear difference with the adaptive trigger on what's, like, halfway down and what's all the way down. So, like, Ratchet and Clank just impressed. Like, they utilize their technology in ways that I want to see other games start using. It, it really, you know, the way I think about it is, like, Xbox kind of just, like, brought their old controller over, which is really cool because controllers are expensive as hell. And I thought that was a really cool thing, but however, that was before I got my hands on the DualShock controller. Because, like, my thoughts were always controllers are expensive, and honestly, they're almost the same thing every time. The DualShock proved me wrong. You know, this thing, like, proved me wrong. It really shows how much controllers can change, and, like, exactly how to do it. And if we have more games that utilize those features, or if we have more companies that release controllers that have those features, we'll get more games with those features, and immersive gameplay will be a lot bigger. You know, I'm a story-driven gamer. Those are the games I mostly love. That I spend more time with than anything else. So I want this to keep going in the direction it's going, because I never would have imagined something like the DualShock controller. And Ratchet and Clank, not only after they got their hands on it, they went, we know exactly what to do with this technology, and we're definitely going to do it. And they're all like, and we'll have an amazing story. Anything Insomniac touches, Spider-Man, Ratchet and Clank, like, they're just the best. Like, Spider-Man Miles Morales barely didn't make this list on the technicality that it came out last year. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, you know, I know PS5s are very hard to get, but it's worth it. That should be your first game when you get a PS5. It should be Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I'm telling you, it is an absolute pleasure to have played that game. You know, smiles for days on my end. I got the platinum for it. I think it was, like, technically it was my second PS5 platinum, because I got Astro's Playroom, that's what it was. Yeah, so technically my second PS5 Platinum because of Astro's Playroom. But I honestly, it was so hard to put Ratchet and Clank down. I think I got that Platinum in like 2 days, 3 days maybe. Because I streamed, when that game came out, I streamed it nonstop. And almost, you know, it's great. It's a fun game. You'll enjoy it. Especially, you know, sci-fi stuff's always fun anyway. But that was my top 5 games in 2021 video. A lot of fun making this video. A lot of just, yeah, like a lot of memories, man. This year flew by so fast. So fast. And it's always good to kind of go back and like think of like, what did I play this year, you know? And there's so many games that I have like right here in front of me. Anyway, guys, yeah, again, thank you all for being here. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate having you here. If you liked what you watched, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. We're on our way to 100 subscribers. I think we're at like 89 or like 90. We're close to 90, I think. And, yeah, well, I'll be back, later this week with, or later next week, probably around Tuesday. I'm gonna start doing weekly videos on the channel, which I'm very excited about. Yeah, weekly videos. We're gonna have our podcast out weekly, the Weekly Rundown, right up there. The Weekly Rundown is a podcast that me and my friend Brendan Howard have been doing for a long time, and we are bringing on a new host, which is very exciting. That will be out this Thursday. I'll have a link for it right now, because this will be Season 2. If you want to check out Season 1, we have a few episodes of Season 1. We started pretty late last year, and then we took a few weeks off for Christmas and Thanksgiving and school and work. So we, but we're going to be back at it next week. This week, actually, on Thursday. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining me. Have a great night. Bye.